Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today's video is going to be one of the monthly build challenges. So I'm back into it again. I skipped last month's build challenge because I didn't like the coaster type that was included. It was the vertical spinning coaster. I felt like I couldn't do anything with that. So in today's challenge is the Calm River ride. If you've been with the game since Alpha, you would know that we already did this back in Beta 3. This is the Calm River ride. So again, it was just repeating this again, but this time I want to do a different theme in a way. My first one was under a volcano theme. It was called Volcano Springs. And so this round I decided to go with like more of an aquarium theme idea, because I had an idea back when I was Googling some stuff and I saw some like concept art for like an aquarium with like giant, like a whale statue you walk through or something, and or some like shark lagoon. This basically is called Shark Lagoon, but I just had ideas of like an aquarium, so I kind of like made this the idea. So you get on a boat, and the boat goes around a little shark lagoon that you go see the sharks in, and then you get off. So it's like an aquarium ride basically. So that's kind of the basic idea of it. Couple renditions went through was trying to build a giant shark that you go through, and I felt like that was a little bit too ambitious, and especially with Construction Anarchy off, it was a little bit harder to accomplish. I might be building a shark on my spare times, like on a map or something. I can easily probably do that, but in this I had to think of what key things we would go around and how it would kind of set itself up. The budget, I don't remember the budget. I know that the budget was, I think it was 7,000, and then the scenery budget was 3,000. So there's really not much to use. 3,000 doesn't sound like a lot, especially with me and my detailing. I want so much more, but again, that's the point of the build challenge, is that it's supposed to be a harder, and it's meant in the smaller space. I think there's a smaller space than Volcano Springs when we did the first one, and the first challenges, like in the first beginning, were like very, very liberal on its costs and stuff. So it was like, oh, you can do anything you wanted. You can build pretty cool stuff with with like the money they gave you. So in this round, I think the devs are trying to make it more challenging and less maybe scenery heavy. But again, this ride is more based off of scenery anyway. It's a Calm River ride. So it's like a very simple, looks like a river rapids. I think this is a precursor to river rapids. It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Because it looks like this was like the tech for it, and then the river rapids kind of got a better handle on the tech for it, things like that. So yeah. So after basically messing around for about 20 minutes, I finally came to the conclusion of making a lighthouse as my station, and then it goes into the Shark Lagoon, and then it would just kind of wrap itself back. Now, I didn't have any other ideas yet until later on in the build. Again, this build, how long did it take me to build? Was it an hour and a half? Hour and a half? 2 hours, maybe 2 hours. It took me 2 hours. So, I knew I needed to build a lighthouse. Also, I knew I needed to build some type of lagoon, probably in the center where the track is. And then add another key feature to look at as well, because I feel like when you build a ride, that you need to build like 1 to 3 features to give your guests attention to. Even though the guests, technically speaking, in this game are blind, they don't really see anything. They know, well, that's just the technical part of it. They're technically blind, but hey. But so the idea was to give 2 to 3 points of interest. So the lighthouse being part of the station is 1 point of interest, and then another one would be the lagoon. And then as I was building on, I later thought to put in a ship, just like a sailing ship, like on the water or something, to kind of give that notion that we're on the water. There was no other themes that I thought of before working on this build challenge. It was kind of nice not to doing the build challenge in March, because it kind of gave me a break and I got to do some other stuff. So I might go do these build challenges on and off. again, I do like them. I love doing them. They're my favorite thing to do because it kind of exercises your imagination what to do. And also with construction anarchy off, I kind of like freaked out a little bit, like oh it's off. I need to do something. Okay, let's figure it out. So that was kind of a challenge, but I got a hang of it again. It's actually nice to have it to its default vanilla because that's kind of how the game was designed to be. Yeah. Still, I was trying to also figure out to make this build just like my other builds, because with my builds in Construction Anarchy, I just kind of like go wild and add details and shapes and different angles all I want. And here I want to try to do the same thing here as well, even though it's only, well, default. So again, with the lighthouse here, I just made it out of shapes instead of walls. Makes it easier. I can make it indent smaller to make it look like a little lighthouse. This was a little bit. You want to make them not as. Yeah, you make the cylinders just a little bit smaller than the one below it, so that it kind of makes it look like it goes up a cone. So there's the lighthouse. Yeah, it's just a simple lighthouse. Nothing like. I don't know. I copied the one from I think. What was that map called? It's in the campaign. It has a lighthouse in it. It's like an abandoned volcano. But I basically built that lighthouse kind of the same way. So it's not like it was something inventive new for me. I did add lights in it though to kind of give it some glowing effect at night. And you won't necessarily see it. I don't know. It was just kind of details that I think are important, like lighting. I especially think lighting is very important in building a build. Because when it does a rainstorm, you'll see how it changes the night. Yeah, I even put down lights to light up the lighthouse. Huh. Lighthouse lights. Ah. And there you go. The windows actually, just fine note there. I was trying to make some shutters. They were blue in color. I was trying to make some shutters, and I was trying to figure out how to make them look like shutters, and I was having a real hard time doing that, and I gave up on that. I might experiment with that again later. Again, this build was kind of an experimentation to see what other little details I can pull off. The corner side of the building here just made a whole bunch of those border pieces. I've done this once before we got the brick corner details later in the mechanical set. So I kind of just copied that all over the place. Here I did some sand idea, so I made like sand that rolled up against the building that would be out of the cylinders. Kind of felt like that was a little bit too big in its sand size, so that later goes away. Again, this whole build was kind of experimentation. This placing down roofing as my sand is kind of my thing, so that's a normal Astro technique. Is just if I can't paint the ground because the ground paint does not go into a blueprint, I just basically make ground roofs, and then I make that like my border of my build. That's kind of what I do. So after finally finishing the lighthouse, it was on to building the Shark Lagoon. So I still had the thought in my mind was still to have a Shark Lagoon, have a shark head that you go through, and that was in my head the entire time building this, and I wish there was a better way of doing it, but I think I just lost like some of my inspiration because Construction Anarchy was off, and I also was running out of budget quickly because I'm here at 1700, already losing a lot of money, so it's kind of hard to figure out if I was gonna pull that shark thing off anyway. So that was kind of like still a forethought as I was building here. This here was just an island to kind of offset the blue and to kind of give something the boats to go around. I did some more rocks as well. Again, if you think your building is boring, I think the best thing to do is to put some trees and plants near it to give some realism. What else did I add to this ride? I added ship will be later. The whole notion of it's a Shark Lagoon is not really there yet until I put down these little walls, the curved walls, the inverted ones, and they look like shark fins. So I kind of did that quickly. And I felt like the lagoon was also a little too small, so I decided to expand it through the track, and I built a pretty simple looking lagoon. I think that's actually worked out really well to kind of make the build a little bit bigger than it is. I felt like it was too small, and this worked out better. And there's 3 sharks in the lagoon, so again, this aquarium built a shark lagoon, and they built a ride going through it. That was kind of the idea of this entire build, was an aquarium. I might make that a park map, maybe an aquarium. I don't know. It's, as I talk to you guys, it's kind of nice to think of blue. I'm like blue skying of what to think of. If you've never heard of the term blue sky, is basically a Disney term for thinking of anything you want. The sky is the limit, and then you decide to then go with the idea and then realistically think it's possible. So that's why it's called blue sky. So blue skying's fun, especially in Parkitect. You can just blue sky anything you want. That's why I enjoyed my last big project was Astroland. Is like that was my biggest blue sky project ever, and that was the most fun I've had. So here I also extended the lagoon again into the further part because I also forgot to add in my little ship that I wanted. So the sailing ship was going to first to be like a regular, typical sailing ship. And I was experimenting with pieces to make a different type of boat hull, and it wasn't coming out the way I wanted at all. I used window pieces as the sides. I tried to use cylinder pieces to kind of simulate the bow, and it just didn't work. And so I deleted it, and I went back to a very basic default broken up sunken pirate ship, because I've done pirate ships before. Might as well just do it here, and I didn't have to build the whole thing. It's half pirate ship because it's broken. So I decided to build a very simple mast, and then some sails, and just build a pirate ship. It was kind of like me buckling down on doing something I normally am comfortable with. I'm trying to do some new stuff in my build sometimes, but sometimes the simplest solution is usually the easiest, as you can say. Like, yeah, so pirate ship was the solution. And I think it also worked out to kind of drag in more attention besides just the lighthouse. The pirate ship also gives you that. And again, sharks like shipwrecks. That's apparently a thing, so it works with the theme again. So to do the sails were done using the medieval banners, and there's only 2 of them. Paint them all black, and then you just stack them all the way across. They look like torn. I'm going to say torn. Can't speak. Torn sails, and then it kind of just looks uneven, and it worked out pretty well. Now here's a bonus build that I did for my ride. So after I built the pirate ship, I kind of wrapped up my build, checked up on some details, and then sent it off to the workshop. It's on the workshop now. Go for it. Here, I decided that my build wasn't complete enough, so I decided to take it to a sandbox. With Construction Anarchy back on, I decided to build a actual Shark Lagoon logo that actually would fit with the ride. So my first thought was it going to be a circle sign, and then a square base rectangle to hold the word Shark Lagoon. And then I knew that I needed to build some type of shark coming out of water, like the Jaws symbol from the movie. So that was the idea. So this was the challenge of trying to put that together, because we don't have like any shark props or anything. So that was the next challenge to do so. So first build Shark Lagoon. I used the shapes at smaller intervals and kind of placed this by hand to give that white border in the back. The white circle is going to change to yellow later because I think the yellow actually is a better offset. This lagoon sign is actually on the workshop as well, so if you wanted to get the Shark Lagoon logo for the Shark Lagoon ride, you can. It goes together and it fits perfectly in this spot when you lift it up, even though I use Construction Anarchy to place it. Here I'm using the squiggly symbol on the keyboard to make the waves, so I was using the texting sign thing to make waves. I didn't think of anything else how to use it, so I kind of used those, and it actually worked out really well. I mushed up, I think, 6 of them finally together, and it looks like waves. Then I changed it to yellow. Accidentally hit the Shark Lagoon sign. The text signs have a very big hitbox for some reason, and so you can accidentally paint them. It's a little annoying, but you can get used to that. And I quickly blue of the ocean waves, and then now I needed to figure out how to put in a shark. So the shark was only made of circle discs, so it was very, very simple. But I think it portrayed a shark pretty well, because it looks like the shark is coming out of the water, coming at you, and it's... Oh yeah, I tried something else with the a different text too. I wanted to use texting for like the slash, the slash symbol, but that didn't work out because it was a triangle. I was trying to make a triangle. That didn't work out either. So I just kind of went with the default of a hand doing it, and then going from there. So it kind of looks like a shark from here. Then red is your mouth, and then a little darker red would be your inner mouth, or the more darker it goes in, the darker. So I'm trying to make some forced perspective in a way, because it's kind of imitate the shark's maw or mouth, and I think it turned out pretty well. So the Shark Lagoon is on the workshop. Go check it out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little video on Shark Lagoon. So catch you guys later. Bye.